Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a 2020 Subaru Impreza with the Sport package, and it is also a wagon. So, as always, a huge shout out and thank you to Mark Miller Subaru for providing us with this Impreza. Check out their inventory in the link below if you're in the market for a new Subaru. We're going to do a quick walk around the car, then we're going to take it out and see how it drives. Let's get into it. Under the hood here we have a Boxer 4-cylinder that goes to a CVT automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 27 around town and then 35 on the highway, with power outputs being 152 horsepower and then 145 pound-feet of torque. Go over things on the front end. So this color is actually called Lithium Red Pearl. I really like it. It pops, especially in person. But looking at the lights, we've got halogen headlights, and then the fog lights are kind of integrated down there in the corner. Subaru's signature front end grille, nothing too crazy happening there. Other than that, they keep things really simple on the front end of the Impreza. And if you want to see the front end on a different car, well, there's a white one for you. And there's another one. But yeah, that's everything for the front. Coming around the side here, we've got these 18-inch rims with 225mm tires wrapped around them, and I love the look of the rims. They kind of have this like blade-like look. It's just really neat, actually. The mirrors are kind of like two-tone, which is neat. So it's like black on the bottom, and then you've got the red on the top. And then here's kind of like your side-ish angle on the Impreza hatchback. Here's our key fob for the Impreza hatchback. So you have a couple functions. The lock function is the top button. Subaru logo is the unlock button. And then you hold this down, and that basically just unlocks the rear hatch. But you have to do the rest of the work yourself. So the button is just right here. It's actually right by the backup camera. But opening up the rear, we actually have a cargo cover back here. So it's in this position. If you want to pull it out, all you have to do is just pull it out, kind of slip it through the sides on that side and on that side, and then it covers everything. And when you're done, you can just retract it back. You get two sets of floor mats. Get the rubber ones and then the cloth ones that say Sport on it. But other than that, it's just got a good amount of storage space. Now the benefit of the hatchback is you will get more storage space compared to the sedan, especially in terms of height. Now pulling it back down, just grab it there and you're good. Let's finish things up on the rear. I love the little spoiler they do up top there. It definitely makes it look a little bit sportier. The rest of the back, they just have the new upgraded taillights, which I really like the look of those. Just makes it look a lot more modern, a lot sportier as well. But this is probably the best angle on the hatchback. It just, yeah, it looks awesome from back here. And I think it looks a lot better in the rear compared to the sedan. Opening up the door in the rear reveals the door panel, of course. We've got this nice like cloth trim here, and then you got like the faux carbon fiber leather trim here at the bottom, actually with red stitching, which obviously will match with the exterior color. And then here are the seats in the back. They've got a bunch of different elements to them. So you've got like the red netting in the middle, contrasted stitching against the black cloth, which just looks really nice. And then you've got kind of like this gray piping at the bottom. But we are going to pop in. So stepping in, it's actually really easy to get in here, and really spacious back here. I've recently reviewed quite a few SUVs in this last week that didn't have as much space as this car. This is supposed to be like a smaller sized car, but it doesn't look like we have any like pullouts or anything like that. It looks like you can fold down the seat, but yeah, that's pretty much everything for the rear. And here's just one more look. Coming up to the front, we do have keyless entry, so one touch to lock it, and then to unlock it, just put your hand on the back of the door handle, and then it'll unlock the Impreza. And the door panel in the front is completely identical to the rear with all the materials. So you got the gray cloth with the black leather, with the faux carbon fiber, and then you got your controls for the doors and the mirrors. This one does have the Harman Kardon sound system. Here's the seats in the front. They've got more of that cool mesh on them. The design is the same as the rear seats. They're just more nicely bolstered. So these are just pretty big and beefy. And then we do have the little power adjustments there on the side of the seat. And then the pedal layout is down below. And I actually like the look of those pedals. They look very premium. Stability controls right there, and then you got the blind spot monitoring. Finally, the steering wheel is manually adjustable. There's one more look before we pop in. Now to start with the Impreza, we just have to put our foot on the brake, push the push start. Gauges will do their little sweep, and everything will pop on. Now here is a full view of the steering wheel. Zooming in, we've got the controls for the cruise control. It is adaptive cruise control. You do have the lane keep assist on top of that. These are for a couple of the drive modes. I like the red stitching on the inside of the steering wheel. And then over here, we've got other controls like the volume, voice commands, all that kind of stuff. This is for the little center screen right there. That's your light stock. The other one is going to be the stock for the windshield wipers. Now for the gauges, they kind of highlight them in red. You've got RPMs on that side, got the speed on the other side, and then right there in the center, there's a couple different menus that you can scroll through. Basically just gives you different bits of information on the Impreza. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We're just gonna leave it to be a Speedo. I just wanted to quickly show you guys what is up here at this top portion. So basically just gives you different bits of information on the vehicle, so you can see like your range, fuel economy, temperature outside, which it's getting incredibly hot today. It's in the middle of February, or the end of February, it's really weird. And then also the time, and then the location of that is it's just at the top here. So you've got that little part right there, and the sun's kind of blacking it all out. But right, you got your gauge cluster, you got that up there, and then got the little touchscreen in the center. Going over the center infotainment system, if we pop it into reverse, we've got a little backup camera that'll pop up, and if you turn the steering wheel, the trajectory lines will turn with it. So pretty good setup right there. Now, the rest of the infotainment system, it's good response times. You can see when I press the buttons, I mean, things pretty much just happen right away. But in terms of like the scroll time, all that, it's all really good. And if you're wondering why these pages are blank, it's so that you can put shortcuts to different functions on the car, which is pretty neat. You get analog controls down below, so if you like some buttons, you can have your buttons, which you do get like the volume knob, all that kind of stuff. And then down below that, we have our climate controls, and it is a single zone climate. In this little area, we have a couple little USBs. You've got a 12 volt and some extra storage. Here is the CVT automatic, and then it does have a manual shift mode. I know it doesn't have gears, but it kind of mimics gears, and so it'll mimic having a transmission with gears so that you can manually shift with these little paddle shifters, basically. So it's a pretty cool little setup. And then you got the brake, which again has more of that red contrasted stitching. Heated seats for the front, a couple cup holders, and then the center console is leather with more stitching. And then you've got a couple more little charging areas in here. So you've got like a 12 volt and then another USB. And finally, coming over the glove box, got more of the faux carbon fiber trim. Opening it up, it's got a ton of storage space. And then again, more of that stitching and soft touch above. Up top here, we have our buttons to turn off the lane departure assistance and the collision assistance, and this does have a regular little sunroof up top, so big plus on that. And then they have a black headliner which matches the rest of the black bottom part of it, so it's kind of like all like one color and makes sense. Now that we're done going over the interior on this Impreza Sport, let's quickly talk about pricing. So this particular Impreza with the Sport package and all the options it has, stickers for about $28,000, just a little bit more before any type of market adjustment, which I just reviewed a Crosstrek today, limited, and that one was about $31,000. So there's not a huge price difference between the two cars, which is pretty interesting. That all being said though, let's take this Impreza Sport out and see how it drives. We are setting off here in the Impreza Sport hatchback, and let's talk about the road noise and ride quality with this. So far in terms of the ride quality, it's really smooth, and I can tell that Subaru's been focusing on this a lot these last few years because all of their cars just ride exceptionally smooth. Just as they're going over everything, it's just like nothing bothers the car, which is awesome. And you can tell that, like I said, they're going for that kind of like luxury car feel with the drive quality. Now, in terms of the road noise that comes in, you hear a little bit from the tires, but in terms of where I'm going to rate that, I would definitely put it at the lower side of things. So yes, there is tire noise. However, it's very minimal, and yeah, I mean, it's a comfortable, smooth car. We are about to take our first turn here in the Impreza hatchback, and actually turns pretty flat, but regardless of that, the steering on it is very light, relatively direct. I just drove a Crosstrek, and this definitely feels a little bit more direct than the Crosstrek, which is expected because Crosstrek is basically a lifted Impreza. But coming up here, I did put it over into the manual shift mode, and well, as soon as I can make a turn here, we're gonna get our acceleration. So we're gonna get our little acceleration here. Yeah, those gear shifts are actually pretty quick, like downshifts and upshifts happen pretty quick with the CVT. Now, in terms of power, I mean, it's more than enough to get you up and going. No, it's not crazy fast or anything like that. I mean, you guys heard the power figures, 152 horsepower. but what you lack in power, you're gonna make up for in really good fuel economy. So you've got to kind of always do that battle when you are buying cars. Do you want a lot of power, or do you want good gas mileage? That all being said though, I mean, like I said, it'll get you up to speed, but it's just not crazy fast. So let's sum things up with this Impreza Sport hatchback and where this really stands. If you're looking for a comfortable car that you could drive year-round, because this has that symmetrical all-wheel drive system, has a ton of safety tech, I mean, this has pretty much everything at a really reasonable price point as well, then this is a super solid car to go for. Maintenance is going to be inexpensive on it. It's a very safe car to drive just because of all the safety tech, but then also that symmetrical all-wheel drive. And I hope you guys saw that. Like, that is stereotypical definition of a Utah driver driving over the double yellow line. But regardless of that, it's a super safe, comfortable car, and I really like this car. Like, as something just to drive on a daily basis, this is a great option to go for, and I think it's at a really reasonable price, especially for this kind of like more loaded up sport variant. That is going to sum things up for our video on the 2020 Impreza Sport with the hatchback, so Impreza wagon. Again, thank you everyone so much for watching. And as always, a huge shout out and thank you to Mark Miller Subaru here in Utah for providing us with this Impreza. Check out the inventory in the link below if you're in the market for a new Subaru. If you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe, and I will see all of you in that next video.